morning, good afternoon, and good evening to all those who are viewing us and listening to us wherever you're located, whatever your time zone is. Welcome to Crossfire. I'd first like to welcome my partners here, Sir Butch Valdes and of course, Paglinawan, and this is Rita Gadi. The title of our program this afternoon is Up Close and Personal. What does this mean? Well, a lot of people have been trying to analyze or to make comments and write or talk about their opinions regarding the first 100 days of President Bongbong Marcos. But so much has been said and many things will still be said, but that's not exactly what we want to point at. Sir Butch Valdes knows the family personally, the Marcos family. Ado has been in contact many times back and perhaps recently also, we don't know, but he knows also the president. And of course, I cannot speak how close I am to our president today, but with the family, I've known them since 1965. So he was how old then when I first met him? 10 years old. So be that as it may, we are now looking forward to the next 4 years, 5 years or so after 100 days. And there's a lot of talk about the honeymoon stage, etc. Let's forget about that. What's important is how do we look at him up close and personal. So good afternoon, Sir Butch. Good afternoon,
Good
Ato.
afternoon. Well, in my case, even if you say that we might know the family, it's relative. Many people know the family. But we've had some associations before. Now, but I don't have any inkling as to the real competence or capability of this President Marcos. All I know is I've had the experience of seeing the old President Marcos. And today I miss him very much. And I think many people are starting to feel the same way.
Exactly. As you're saying it, Sir Butch, I also have the same thinking as of this stage because, well, 21 years under the first Marcos regime, and then 36 years afterwards with the family, especially with Mrs. Marcos. So, Ando, how is your, your up close and personal relationship?
Well, this guy has a mandate of 31 million people and an expanded mandate, if I may say, because his predecessor was put in place by basically by the middle class and the by some enlightened elite, you know. And Digong Duterte came in shock and awe, you know, which is his personality. But it looks like that Bongbong Marcos wants to be a man of his own. And in so doing, he lost the elections of 2016 for vice president, at least officially, no? Through the courtesy of smart magic, of course. But the truth to tell, it gave me a glimpse of a man who was really in search of his own destiny. And I believe in destinies, Rita and Butch. And I think what we have today, we have to be a little bit more patient. We have to be a little bit more patient with this one because I don't think the Lord intended us to be in shock and awe at this point. I will read to you 1 Peter 3:15. But sanctify the Lord God in your hearts, and be ready always to give an answer to every man that asketh for a reason of the hope that is in you, and with meekness and fear. So we have to be a little bit more considerate with the son, because he did not have the trials of the father. He did not have the opposition uh, on his road to the presidency of the father.
He carried the name,
He
yes.
carried the name, and that alone won for him already 51% of the elections, I would say, for president, because we are looking at a different kind of an electorate now. And it was the masa, the class D and E that joined the middle class of Duterte that gave him a great majority. Yan ho ang explanation dyan. So, are we just about to put a fire extinguisher into the hope just because this guy cannot move as fast as the father? I would like to hear from Butch and Rita first
But
before I give my
you said something
prognosis.
about a fire extinguisher, meaning to say that somebody is a fire or carrying the light or whatever it is. But he himself has said, when he was asked about his first 100 days, and that he said something to the effect that, and I'm quoting this from him, well, over the past 100 days, it was putting out fires. These are his exact words, and ensuring a functional government. So, be that as it may, you have another description of the fruit falling away from the tree or rolling down, we don't know where. So, as you said, there is not very much we know as far as executive abilities and his executive capabilities are concerned, other than the fact that he was once a governor, vice governor, and then he entered the legislature as congressman and then as senator. But then again, as we said, executive work is a different matter altogether. You just don't run a town or a city or a province. You're running something like 84 provinces, 15 regions, 1,500 towns and cities. And then you have a population of about, 110 million and so. So there we have it. And as we said, putting out fires, and then you said something, Ado, about what we think about his first 100 days. But as he said, what are the fires that he had to put out?
Well, I do not agree that this is a functional government that he has formed in his 100 days. What I feel here is that this is a thank you government. Those who helped him during the elections were first to his pen in the appointment, and so he's now suffering the consequences of a dysfunctional team. We see all kinds. We see communists inside. We see yellow people inside. We see some soldiers inside, but do not be too soldiery. So, if I may say that. We don't see an integration of anything because there's really nothing to integrate. And if I go one by one sa mga membro ng cabinet niya, at least yung importante, we don't see any, don't see the rationale that the Bongbong Marcos that I saw as a senator conducting a hearing with the intelligence quotient that he has. He's intelligent. And he's quick to learn. But yun lang ang sinabi mo, Rita, executive ito. No? People were saying, we're gonna hit the ground running. Oh, no. They're stumbling as of the moment. So,
last week,
ano ito, pansit palabok ba ito? Canton o miswa? Hindi ko alam itong itong mix ngayon, no? I'm not being critical. I'm just
stating
describing
facts.
what I
Yeah,
see.
exactly, yes.
Well, to me, what we're seeing at present now is a bit uncertainty on the part of many people as to what's going on. To the point that, of course, some will start thinking that it is a dysfunctional government. And I agree, you cannot just immediately say that it is dysfunctional. No? But my worry is, since we are thinking people, and we have the capability of forecasting or having some foresight, we tend we should tend to look at policies rather than the little intramurals that are going on, no? Which you can
Put aside.
dispel
Yeah.
with as a mistake or this or he didn't do this, there was no vetting and so on and so forth and so on. But the policy that is kept on being stressed by the president is what scares me. No? And he refers to his vaunted economic team. No? And his economic team, whose principal, obviously, suggestion to him is to open up our country, no? In all respects, not just public utilities, not just natural resources, but to all corporations, to open up to the foreign investors. No? This, to my mind, no, is a completely opposed to the principle that his father left as a legacy. His father fought for economic sovereignty, and he was always trying to present and address himself as an independent republic. In all aspects, he fought it hard, although at that time, his father did not have the convenience of having a China or a Russia to lean back on. No? But nevertheless, you can see the heroism on his part as he was fighting to address this sovereignty issue with the Americans.
Yeah, but Sir Butch, times have changed. You could always say that since the Marcos one ended in 86, we had 36 years, and how many presidents and governments that have already taken over. So the approach now, perhaps, is what we see, that the son of the late President Ferdinand now thinks that another way of approaching the conditions today, especially since we've just come from this pandemic, this COVID. And I'd like to quote again exactly what he said so that Ado can give us a further analysis of this. Because you mentioned, Sir Butch, that he has always mentioned this. In every speech of his, it has always been the economic managers and how he has full trust on these economic finance people that are surrounding him, the members of the cabinet there specifically. But this is what he said: we are targeting strict economic targets. And this is a direct quote. So that's exactly in line with what Sir Butch said, that he's been mentioning this, maybe the changing of subject and predicate, but it's still that. And then he says it is because this is all connected to the numbers of growth, to the numbers of different measures, and to the metrics used for the economy. So there you have it, 3 different numbers, etc., which I'm a layman and a very poor economist, which I don't understand. So, Ado, how does this go?
Here's my 2 cents worth on that. When it comes to targeting, nobody can beat Ben Jokno. He's very good at it. But we still have to hear roadmaps towards those goals. Everybody wants us near to 6% gross domestic product. Okay? Who would not want that, especially in a post-pandemic scenario? But the roadmaps of Ben Jokno scares me too, because he's anti-agriculture. He says agriculture is a sunset industry, and that if we want food security, then we should do it through importation. What kind of anyway, number 2. Never mind the adjectives and adverbs. Number 2, all of a sudden, he announces this aggressive privatization strategy, and it will hit PAGCOR, PCSO, even the bus rapid transit system at EDSA, some airports, and we are now seeing that this will hit hard also whatever is remaining of the power assets of the company that is being managed by what group is this? The PISAM? What is that? Let me just get through my notes here. The Power Sector Assets and Liabilities
PISAM.
Corporation.
Yeah, exactly.
Ipa-privatize. Pero,
So, yeah.
Rita, meron bang bibili ng asset ng gobyerno na nalulugi?
And that's it.
Hindi.
It's in
Meron.
contract.
This is the whole point.
Oo.
Yeah.
The only business that is making so much money, that is attracting investors, is the power and the public utilities.
Yeah.
Because there is no limit to what they going to be charging the people, and they've been on that thing.
So when he
This
said, yeah.
thing, when he's with the targets of this, the targets of 6% is nothing, or 10% is nothing. The target must be the quality of life of our people, the jobs that you can generate with that. These statistical targets are bullshit. And Jokno is very good at it. For the past 40 years, he has been in government. And if he has been in government precisely, and we followed, as we did, followed all of his directions, and people of the same thinking, the quality of life of the Filipino over the past 40 years have deteriorated. And I challenge anybody who says that it has been better than that. No?
So when the
They
president,
have
yeah.
deteriorated.
Yeah, okay, Sir Butch, when he says, for instance, that he is ensuring a functional government, and he is saying that what is functioning? Does it mean that the private sector can function government better than government itself?
The rhetorics doesn't match what the picture.
Yes.
Because, for instance, what Butch is trying to say is let's have some bottoms-up activity. But Ben Jokno is very good at trickle-down economy.
Yeah.
Yun ang problema. And the bottom-up economy means productivity from
Yes.
below.
Yeah.
And how do you achieve this if this guy is against agricultural productivity? He's anti-farmer, he's anti-fisherman. How can you have this when the power rates are double that of Vietnam and China? Wala sustainability and foreign direct investments na papasok. And on top of that, itong sa power, that will be very key. Because kung hindi natin mababawasan ang rates natin sa power, forget about investors. Forget about investors. But what do I see on the ground? He appoints Rafael Popo Lutilla, okay? Who was Secretary of Energy. Wala pa ako naririnig na sabi si Lutilla on what to do with the PIRA, which he has helped conceptualize, by the way, under Arroyo. Marireform ba yan to serve the consumers and not the oligarchs that who have been feasting on it for the past more than 20 years? And then, hindi alam nitong ERC chairman niya, si Mona Lisa, ang ganda ng pangalan, Mona Lisa.
pa eh.
Ha?
With the cryptic smile.
Anyway,
Yeah.
cryptic smile. Di malanta. Ha? Binabanata ni Congressman Dan Fernandez kasi hindi niya maibigay yung weighted average cost of capital. The Energy Regulatory Commission for the past 22 years have not computed the weighted average for cost of capital, but Bloomberg is presenting figures that is one half that of being charged. And now, here comes Dennis Edward de la Serna becoming the next president of PISAM. And who are these people? My goodness, these people are all tauhan po ni Sabine Aboitis na best friend ni Bongbong Marcos. So what am I to make of that? Magkakaroon ba ng respect ang consumer?
Wala.
O ito, mga ito is just gathering in there to take advantage of the powers and the assets and to be privatized. And worse, ERC lamang ang susi sa renewable energies. So, Sabina Boitis here is out to make a head go. Iiwanan niya lahat yung mga oligarchs behind.
Yeah.
I see a new kind of monopoly and
Wider. It's a wider kind of monopoly. I've always said that if COVID was a depopulation measure, no, the economic policy is a worse tool for depopulation. No? Because what does it do? As you can see, it creates the conditions for higher poverty, lesser jobs. Higher poverty means less amount for the welfare of the people, means higher challenges to their health, and it also means higher mortality. That's not rocket science. We see the logic. No.
that is why, Rita, the debate now is going lower
Okay.
to the basic core values that our president has, and up close and personal. Ano ba yan?
That's exactly what I wanted to go back to. Yes.
Ano ba yan?
How
Ano ba
much?
siya?
Yeah. How much of?
Where is he coming from?
How much of
Yes.
him do we know?
Yeah.
As far as his political, economic, executive, legislative history is concerned, so that when we are up close and personal and really try to analyze if he sees what Ado sees, what Sir Butch sees, what I'm talking about here is exactly what our people need. He sits there now as the Secretary of Agriculture. He attends a food fair. He holds a couple of bunches of pechay. And then he talks about now the world can see how the Philippines is going to be productive as far as agriculture is concerned. But exactly what is it that we see insofar as coming from the farms to the farmers, the fisher folk, to our tables, so that we can say that indeed, for what we can see, we can already project, as you said, there could be a roadmap as far as food security is
Do you
concerned.
know how he describes this? He describes this as building for the future, the Philippines as a distribution hub for agriculture.
Exactly, as he was holding the
So-
pechay.
Where did that come from? I mean,
Distribution.
distribution hub. We are the basket case of agriculture right now with sugar pa lang, nagkagulo na. A scandal that could have been avoided. Ang nakita ko kasi dito, cutting the chase. Meron siya mga pinagkatiwalaan who were instrumental in organizing his campaign. And actually, nagsimula ang inside works ko dyan, Rita, as early as July, August of last year. And by September, I got to meet this Vic Rodriguez. No? By October, we were already forming a coalition between the Partido Federal, no, and
The KDL.
the Labor Party of
the
the
Labor
Philippines.
Party.
No? And ito yung endorsement ng resolution endorsing the candidacy of Ferdinand Bongbong Marcos for President of the Philippines. Signed by the late Jose Malmar Villegas Jr. and the Secretary General Ariel Joseph Arias. Look at the date, Rita.
That's
October 8.
Yeah.
October 8.
A year.
Aga-aga.
A year ago. Yeah.
So pagdating ng December, nag-peak na. Bongbong peaked in December and just coasted up to election day. By December, ang sabi ko, let us form a shadow cabinet. Because this is already this is already in the bag. Because the people were really looking for something, not just to be alleviated from poverty, but really, there's got to be a better way. There's got to be a better life. Sabi nila, and Digong showed how it could be possible, and this guy, being a Marcos, can make that better reality, at least among the poor. The D&E that he really resonated with. So sabi ko, hindi nangyari. In fact, 100 days. 100 days na ho, bungi pa yung cabinet. Walang DOH secretary. Walang Secretary of National Defense. No?
Agriculture.
Walang Secretary of Agriculture. So, paano na?
Pero binibenta ng buntang bayan.
Tapos, makikita pa ang ating Pangulo na nagpupunta sa Singapore para manood ng karera ng mga daga. Hindi ng mga Ferrari. Hindi pala karera ng mga Ferrari. At yung daw mga alubilo niyang mga billionaires doon, tutulungan daw ang bullshit!
And a very strange statement are they coming up with. That's exactly, he was there for what? For mentoring with a colleague in the ASEAN, Singapore, for instance, whose father severely criticized the father of our present president, and he wants to be mentored, or at least that's the statement we hear from the palace. Be that as it may, let us not begrudge the man, or the boy, as I would call him, because I'm so much older than he is, attending these rallies, Formula One, etc., and all of this, because that's what he is. That's what he is. That's his hobby. That's his like. So it's like many of us, we also have our own inclinations to do something. And a lot of people with all of these plantitos, plantitas, gardening, etc., you don't begrudge them if that's their interest. So let it be that he likes watching.
Okay na sa atin yun.
Yeah,
no?
let's
Pero
leave it for...
kanina, sabi ni Ado that he wants to be his own man. Of course, in reference to being compared to his father. No? Ako naman, I believe that if there were really good things that his father and mother had done, he does not lose his individuality, or the strength of being his own man, by seeing to it that we implement it. Mr. President Bongbong Marcos, your father had the 11-point industrialization program for the country. It was beautiful. And that one was connected to this
Agriculture.
power sector development. So much so that he projected that by 1990, we would be energy self-sufficient. That was his goal. Your mother initiated the Green Revolution to get everybody, all households, all agencies of government, to move into food production. What is wrong with that, President Bongbong? Implement it and you will be your own man.
But it's very sad, as you said, when he says that he wants to be his own person. But that is exactly what, well, for somebody who has covered his father for the many decades that he was president, it really is, I don't want to say it's a sad commentary, but it's something that we pine for. As Sir Butch has said, it is something that gives us a sense of nostalgia. But then again, as Ado has mentioned, that maybe he wants to have a different roadmap, if there is such a thing as a roadmap now. And that is precisely why we are here trying to find out, but where is this going? Or where is the drawing, actually, that we can see?
Ginamit ko yung Rita, yung roadmap, kasi the goals are very much set by his father. In fact, I have it here, not only here.
Yeah.
His father wanted to use government as the engine of growth for a centralist revolution. Yan ang kanyang, paano niya ma-achieve yan? Tatlo ang paa niyan. political liberation, economic emancipation, at social concord. Doon sa economic emancipation is a balanced agro-industrial sub-programs. And the industrial programs will be based on a self-sustained power generation. Alam nyo ba, na kung na-final ni Corazon Aquino ang Bataan Nuclear Plant, ang matitira na lang dependence natin sa imported fossil fuel will be 14%. 14%! Ngayon, 97% dependent tayo. Bakit? So, anong ginawa niya? Alam niya yung roadmap. Para mangyari yan, ina-nationalize ko yan. Pagdating sa pag-angkat ng langis, gagawa ko ng PNOC. Pagdating sa power, gagawa ko ng NAPOCOR. Pagdating sa mga basic industries, ina-nationalize ko yan. What's wrong with that? That is the most commonsensical approach to government, especially of a poor country. And sabi nga ni Kabuts kanina, wala pa ang China noon. Wala pa ang Russia noon. Ngayon, nandito na sila, naghihintay lang. 100 days na nakita ko lang kahapon na inuutosan na rin ni Bogbong na, sige, mag-negotiate na tayo sa Russia. That should have been on day one.
Day one.
At may results na dapat. Rutilla, anong progress report dito? Kasi inupuan ni Cusi ito under Duterte.
Because you have the oligarchs all the way for the past 36 years.
We
And now,
cannot mix the oligarchies with productivity. Kasi ang kanilang purpose is money on their pocket. Ang gobyernong gusto ni Pangulong Ferdinand Emmanuel Edralin Marcos. Pati yung totoong pangalan niya, alam ko. Yung mga tao maiangat. Maiangat. At hindi sila maiangat nang hinihigop sila sa taas o hindi sila mismo. Remember the world participation? Doon ko una narinig yun yung kinoy ni binastardize ni Ramos na empowerment. Dito, people participation.
Participatory.
Kaya nga, dumami yung mga NGO na yan and all that stuff. Dumami yung mga cooperatives na yan. Pero asat sila? 30 years, winasak yan ang mga dilawan. 30 years, privatize yung NAPOCOR. Privatize yung PNOC. Lahat privatize. So ngayon, tayo ngayon ang nagbabayad. Hindi yung oligarch, kundi tayo.
So let's go back to this being up close and personal and that quotation that I said earlier about putting out the fires and ensuring a functional government. So here we have what is actually happening and will be continuing because already you have all the different policies and programs set up by this group that he has as far as the economy is concerned, which as Sir Butch and Ado feel is really rather painful in our hearts because we have seen the greatness of the programs and the projects of the late President Marcos and why it cannot be pursued or at least not just pursued but started again now that it's very urgent that you have a son with the same name, as a matter of fact, a junior nonetheless. So that is how, as both of us are trying to think about it, up close and personal, how much of this new president do we really know? Well, I have to pardon myself as far as knowing him up close and personal because I always keep on going back to his father. For the past 4 years, I think Sir Butch has granted me this in KDP, the Rita Gadi hour. That's all I talked about, as a matter of fact. And I had to close that because now it is another Marcos who is there in a position of power. But we are not trying to criticize or analyze, but we are really just setting the record straight that from where we're coming from,
In fact, Rita,
we have history behind us. This is what we see today.
In fact, Rita, I will not go as far as itong mga kaliwa at saka mga dilawan saying that this administration is a sinking ship. Paano naman hululubog itong barko na ito? Hindi pa umaalis sa pantalan. Kayo naman masyado naman kayong OA. Ha? Lalo na itong si Bayan Secretary General Nato Reyes na tumanda na, demonstrador pa. Wala ka ba ibang trabahong makuha?
Kumikitang malaki.
Ang laki ng pera mo siguro dito, no? Ha? Mabalita ko, pati mga Amerikano, pinupunduhan na kayo. Itong Ibon Foundation also hit Marcos for supposedly failing to provide a clear vision for the economy in the first months in office. Meron hong clear vision, ang problema yung roadmaps. No? Itong alliance, puro mga kaliwa, of concerned teachers likened the president to a wandering student who prioritized leisure instead of his immediate assignment. Meron pa nagsabi na meron daw siyang hedonistic core value. Aba, sabi ko, Rita, pagka ako inalude mo ng hedonistic core values,
Matutuwa ka.
Ibig sabihin, I'm a ladies man. Pero, mga kabansa, medyo nga, either mahina ang baterya o baka may diferensyang starter. Pero ako, sa nakita ko kay Bongbong as a governor, Rita, nakita ko si Bongbong na senador, once mag-start yung engine na yan, palagay ko, ayos na. So, hindi 100 days ang hihingin ko sa inyo, mga kabansa. 2 years. 2 years. 6 months to 2 years. Bakit? Dahil meron po akong balita sa loob na meron ng mea culpa. Na-realize ni Bongbong Marcos na overtrusting people around him does not pay. That he himself must go hands-on pagdating sa mga ganyang bagay. Kaya yung mga pa-agri-secretary niya, no, mga pa-optics na ganyan, palagay ko iiwanan na niya. And I am predicting a cleansing of government. I am predicting a cleansing of government from top to middle. Because meron na akong narinig yung Memorandum 78 of 1964. Ano yun? Requiring all government officials to first secure a national security clearance before you are permanently appointed. Yan. So, simula na. Kasi, ang nangyari ngayon, kung sino lang naglapit, kung sino lang may sponsor, kung sino lang malakas sa loob, yun na siguro na-appoint. No? Ay, hindi ko naman nila lahat. Dahil may mga magagaling na tao rin naman na na-appoint yan. No? Hindi natin malalahat yan. Pero, doon sa mga key areas, importante.
Yeah, but the national security clearance only refers to whether you're involved with a certain ideological base or you want to overthrow the government, because you speak of security measures only. But we're now talking about the economy, we're talking about health, we're talking about agriculture, we're talking about a wide range of other concerns where people do not need the clearance at all, whether they're capable of actually handling those concerns, but that the qualification they have is that they were during the 2014, 2016, etc., and the latest of this presidential election, there is a timeline that we observe, and a lot of people have been sending messages to us that he doesn't seem to have a memory of beyond 2014, where there are also a lot of good people who've been loyal to him. You talked about this memorandum agreement about a year ago. Why did it fizzle out? Is there a lack of memory of this? He has forgotten, he doesn't remember. A lot of my Muslim brothers in the South, for instance, all the way from Tawi-Tawi, from Sulu, from Ulo, all of them were already amazed at the fact that you had the BBM being honored in Malacanang without even realizing that there were those from these 3 island provinces in the South who've been also, who've been involved likewise in making this government function, in the sense that it is not just a barm as you would want it, but it's actually the entire island of Mindanao and the 3 other province islands. So here you have segregation again of just the places where the Muslims are. And that is why we have 3 barangays in my province that are also part of it. So why is Etiangge not part of it? Why is Maharlika village not part of it? Why is Green Hills not part of it? Why is Krame not part of it? Because that is where, according to Quran, where a Muslim is a Muslim, it is Muslim territory. So this is what we mean. There is the fine-tuning of many things, which just suddenly, in the past 100 days, everything was just approved. And then you had, of course, representation in the Commission on Elections. From time immemorial, you had the Muslim who was there represented. Now you don't have any one of them. You have the son of never mind the adjectives again connected to us. So we do not question those who are being appointed, but we also question the fact that memory extends all the way to his father's time. He may be a young boy when he was climbing up the stairs of Malacanang when his father was inaugurated, but 36 years thereafter, as Ado has already memorized, the 3 pillars of his father actually still stand.
Yeah.
And one of the most basic of that, as Nilo Tayal would say, is the Filipino ideology, the dignity and the honor of the Filipino, as Ado was saying, to raise him up from the base, actually. And that is why, during President Marcos' time, he had how many referenda and plebiscites? How many times did he have all of these questions brought to the people? And then, of course, the lowering of the voting age from 21 to 18, so that the young people and the young people of today can also elect into office a person such as Bongbong Marcos. So here we are at this stage. We are getting up close and personal. We hope that by doing this, each of us can understand exactly where we're going.
That's right.
Dami ko nang nasabi.
Yeah. Well, I just wanted to add that exactly what both of you were saying, that he has been told that he has to be his own man. And by being his own man, that means he must distance himself from the memory of his father. No? But I am sure Bongbong, like myself and many, many other Filipinos, consider his father a great man. And his greatness was in his courage, his political will, and the policies that he embarked on, no, to try to improve the quality of life of every Filipino. Now, if Bongbong Marcos agrees with us that his father was a great man, there is nothing wrong with trying to emulate greatness. There is nothing wrong with trying to do and complete what has not been completed. Then he would deserve precisely the kind of greatness that his father probably has already by now. No?
But I mean, yeah,
Yun lang, no?
I'm just curious about what Ado said earlier about a purgation or a cleansing that's happening or will be happening or it's actually ongoing. So early in the day, as we would say it, we still have about 5 years or so ahead of us, and you're already cleaning up, or there would be some major changes. But, so we don't know where these major changes are coming from, but it seems Ado has the gift of foresight, or because of his wisdom and what he has gone through over the past so many years, he could see that something major could still happen.
Ang prognosis ko lang, Rita, is when this cleansing intervenes, then the personalities around the president will be properly identified. At hindi maka-take off because some people are also pulling him down.
Yes.
Kung makakaroon na mas rational way of vetting people, hindi lang kasi magaling yung the best of the brightest. Sino ba best of the brightest dyan? Wala naman ako nakikita best of the brightest dyan eh. Ha? Puro nga second bench yung nakuha nyo eh. Ha? Puro second bench. Ha? May mga pangalan akong gustong banggitin dito, bakit wala dyan sa cabinet na yan? Hindi ko maintindihan eh. Ang laki rin naman na itulong. At saka isa pa rita, pagka Marcos loyalist ka, mukhang imposible ma-appoint ka.
Exactly.
Yun ang hindi ko maintindihan. Yun ang isa sa mga
Look at me.
attitude. Kayong mag-asawa, ito, personalan na, kayong mag-asawa, mag-usap kayo. Ha? Pagka Marcos loyalist, mukhang ayaw ninyo. Kaso, 31 million yung Marcos loyalist. Hindi doon kayo kukuha sa kabila. Kaya pala puro dilawan at pula yung nakukuha nyo. Oh. At saka, bakit kailangan sikuhin ang First Lady? Ako, ito na, sasalita na ako. Ha? Maraming may tutulong ang First Lady dito. Si Imelda Marcos. Ha? Sa pagpapatayo nitong Marcos Part 2. Revolution from the center. Ha? Bakit kailangan sikuhin si Jaime Marcos? Bakit hindi makapunta doon sa loob? Ano ba ito? Sorry, no? Pero ako, mas duda ako dyan sa Araneta Marcos combination na yan eh. Dahil ang Araneta na yan eh, oligarko yan eh. Kung yan ang orientation at psychology na ipapasok sa governance ng Marcos, nako mga kabansa, patay na tayo. Ha? Papaikot-ikuti na lang tayo niya. Oh. Itong snake in Malacanang, sino ito? Babae daw. Oh. Dalawa lang naiisip ko dyan, isang former president at saka yung part ng pamilya ngayon. Alisin natin yung mga ganyan. Ha? Hindi ho kayo Harry Trader ito. Pinalalakas nyo lang ang argumento namin na nagre-require ng parliamentary form of government because you who are in the family of Marcos, have made Bongbong Marcos a ceremonial president, good only at speech giving. Walang ano eh. So kailangan niya ng head of government to run the government habang siya nag-i-speech doon. Head of state siya, meron tayo head of government. Kasi wala, yung time and motion itong batang ito, hindi natin maintindihan eh. Ngayon, magtulong-tulong tayo, niluklok natin siya dyan. Alam ka naman tayo pa maglaglag sa kanya. Oh, pero, magkaprangkahan tayo rito. Ha? Hindi ho inyo si Bongbong Marcos sa amin ho, sa bansang Pilipino, sa mga kabansa. He belongs to the country, not to your family, whatever family that is.
Those are very strong words, and that's exactly what we mean when we say up close and personal. Sapagkat, you know, like Ado has known our president for quite a while. Sir Butch Valdes has also been in contact with many members of the Marcos family, also on his own. And I do not have to elaborate on where I'm coming from, because as I've said, at one big gathering of your group there, the KDL, the Federal Party, I asked, is there anyone here still alive who was in the presidential campaign of 1965? And good grief, I was the only one standing. So be that as it may, we are this up close and personal, perhaps not questioning anything as far as qualifications, credibility, and capabilities are concerned, because as Sir Ado Paglinawan has said, he's brilliant, he's intelligent, he's a fantastic memory. But then again, as we've said, time and time again, he's a good orator. His speeches are really outstanding, so that we have all of this beautiful accent from where he has studied. But at the end of the speech, and that is why we ask now, what happens next? Is it just the period as far as the delivery is concerned? Of course not. There is so much potential in the man. And that's exactly what we want to draw out. It is the political, it is the emotional, it is the, whatever other history there is that he has to go back to. As sabi nga ni Ado, merong ibang klaseng time warp na nangyayari dito na hindi na niya naaalala kung ano yung ginawa nung panahon ng kanyang ama. Masakit sa akin sapagkat andun ako, as I'm telling Ado, when I was covering Malacanang, how far was I from the president? 2-3 meters away, just there in the study room. So pag nakikita mo nga lahat ng nangyari noon at sa nangyayari ngayon, this is not by way of comparison, but this is by way of saying, well, let's get up close and personal when it comes to, as Ado had said, kung ano ang kinakailangan ng taong bayan. Yan ang mahalaga.
Okay, mag-apple to apple tayo dito. Sino ang Human Settlement Secretary noong panahon ni Presidente Marcos Sr.
Mrs. Marcos
and si Benitez?
was the deputy, yes.
Ah, si Jollibee Benitez. Sino itong in-appoint ni Marcos Jr.? Si Jose Jerry Acosar.
Real estate.
Brother-in-law po yan, mga kabansa, ni Paquito Ochoa, yung pong executive secretary ni Noynoy Aquino, a former law partner of the First Lady Lisa Araneta, as Secretary of Housing and Urban Development. Acosar became prominent when he partnered with former Speaker Sonny Belmonte and built numerous condominiums under the flag of the new San Jose Builders, circling around a small bank na ginawa nilang money laundering. Yan po ang nakapasok sa cabinet. Kaya kayong nakikinig sa Commission on Appointments, huwag nyo hong i-confirm yung tao na yan. Biro nyo, housing magnate, building real estate broker, ginawa ninyong Secretary of Housing, anong gagawin niya?
Meron pang mga kasalanan yan na hindi muna natin masasabi dito. No? Yan si Acosar. Brother-in-law yan ni Jojo Ochoa na Executive Secretary ni Noynoy na ginawa niyang drug czar. No? Yan, pagka-drug czar ni Jojo Ochoa was basically to promote the illegal drug industry in the Philippines. Doon dumami ang shabu factories dito sa atin dahil kay Jojo Ochoa. No? Kaya nasabi ko, marami pang kasalanan niyang si Jojo Ochoa na yan. No?
Yeah,
At si Acosar.
I dread to think that this word unity, which was used during the campaign, includes the unity of all of this all together in this new government. So it's very sad. But pakinggan yung mabuti ang sinasabi ni Ado dito sapagkat iisa-isahin nga ang mga nakapaligid sa ating Pangulo. We only mean well that the people around him, and of course, especially the people closest to him in the palace, would be able to support him in the sense that they would think of the people first and not themselves. Pero para tayo nananaginip when it comes to that. But as the President himself has said, as the people continue to dream, we will make their dreams come true. Those were his words again after he was summarizing the first 100 days of his administration. So nananaginip pa rin tayo, Ado.
Pero well-meaning naman yung direksyon na yun. Sharing a dream na pangarap nyo ay pangarap ko and all that stuff. But let us help put some roadmaps.
It's nice rhetoric.
Into this rhetoric para makaroon ng delivery ito. There are very many pending measures. Kaya lang, imbis na unahin yung joint exploration talks with China, ang inuuna itong balikatan exercises sa Batanes at saka sa Maypalaw. Alam niyo, pati dyan sa OIC ngayon ng Department of Defense, Mr. Faustino, no, bago kayo mabisto na kayo'y nasa bulsa ng Amerikano, mag-resign na kayo. No? Bago i-appoint yung bagong secretary. I don't know who Bongbong is warming that seat for. Siguro si Gibo Teodoro or whoever else. But so far, ang dami siyang nakikreate itong si Faustino. Can you imagine promising the Americans that we will support them in case something happens to Taiwan? Gago! Ayoko na lang magmura dito. Kasi may mga kasama akong disente rito. Pero
okay lang yung gago, hindi ba?
anyway, dumating na yung ating pagbabasa. Magpa-plug muna ako ng libro ko.
Okay, yes.
Right.
Yung aking libro, yung ayan.
Lincoln.
Huwag na sana magkaroon ng problem for resolution si Bongbong Marcos. At saka itong tungkol sa COVID, kung saan nagsimula ang COVID, nagpapasalamat lang po ako kay Rhonda Toria from Antipolo, kay Yusay from Kapatagan, Lanao Norte, Henry C. of Malabon City, Dr. Pastor Rosario and Jose Mercado of Quezon City, and George Shua, who made the volume order. Diyos ko, dineliver ko kahapon. May nagtanong sa Melbourne, Australia, si Angie Johnson, also wants a volume order. Please communicate with me through email at adolfo.paglinawan@yahoo.com. Ang bayad po dito ay pesos, equivalent to 33 Australian dollar per set of 2 books. No? Pero kailangan po ang delivery ay Philippine address kasi hindi po namin inilibre kung abroad. No? So, nagpadala ko sa inyo ng message, Ma'am Angie, by Viber. Hope you get it. Those who ordered but deliveries are still being processed will be acknowledged next week. The publisher has also scheduled only 1,000 sets for this Christmas book sales. So place your orders early. Ayan po, 0917-336-4366. I-text nyo lang ako. Maraming salamat.
Very good.
Very good. So don't forget to buy those books. They're very, very important reading. And as we've said, meron tayong mga messages, kaya pakinggan natin yung mga sinasabi nila. Jerry Chong, good afternoon, Kaado. Sir Butch, ADB projections in 2030, just 5% for the Philippines. Maria Arellano Collado, magpalang hapon po sa inyo, sirs and ma'am. Philip Duliete, meron siyang thumbs up. Brader Culaspio, good afternoon, Ma'am Gadi. Nasa Pilipinas na kayo. Hindi po ako naglakbay sa outer space. Dito lang pala ako ever since. So, Solito Bederio, magandang gabi po sa inyo, Sir Butch, Ma'am Rita. Kaadong mabuhay po kayo watching from Jeddah. Imelda Palapal, good afternoon, evening po. Leng Mariano, na-miss ko si Ma'am Rita, well, I'm back. Loco Joko, mga sir and ma'am, pwede po ba makasuhan si Congressman Raul Manuel sa pag ako sa kay PBM na mamatay ng media. Isa pa yan. We'll probably tackle that next time. Alvin Samonte, sana marinig ko ito ni BBM para medyo matauhan. Alam po niya lahat ito. Ang importante na ikumilos siya. So 107 lang ang nanonood, samantalang mas mainam itong panoorin kesa dun sa ibang vlogger dyan na puro marites ang content. Jingy Bill, hello po sa inyong lahat watching from Germany. Lauren Alejandrina Pascual, good evening po. My Saturday Times sa Crossfire. Hello to you, Ma'am Rita, Sir Butch, and our favorite Sir Ado, watching from Tokyo. Serious discussions, but the atmosphere is awesome. Thumbs up po. From Miss Ann Thorpe, good evening, Crossfire. Rosalina Mond, good evening, Madam Rita, Sir Butch, and Sir Ado. Tama, kailangan ito ang panoorin dahil may mapuputan ng aral. Kay mga marites para lang sila ay magkapera kasi yan ang content nila. Gumagay, Tumbali, Norgard. May ahas daw sa Malacanang, pati ba naman vlogger kasama sa foreign trip ni BBM na wala namang pwesto sa gobyerno. Oh my God. Marisa Suba, watching from Italy. Myra Gu, straight to the point, no blind item. Lailani Dariza, high note. Tama po, bakit po lahat ay dilawan ang nakaupo at silang Dameo lang po ang alam kong kadikit ni BBM ang nabigyan ng pwesto. Loyalist kami at yan ang pinagtataka naming lahat. Guys, counter, Paquito Ochoa, yan yung tinuro ng PDA agent na sumasalo sa malalaking raid ng PIDEA kasama yung General Kakdak na tinuro ng ahente. Christopher Cruz, 10 pesos ang kilowatt hour sa kuryente sa NCR. Sa mga probinsya ay halos pumapalo na ng 15 hanggang sa 20 kilowatt hour. Sa China at sa ibang kapitbansa sa Asia ay halos kalahati lang. Saan pupunta ang foreign investor kung putak ng putak si BBM na kailangan natin ng foreign investment? Unroll sa Rolf Nosvite, baka pamasahin niya yun. Dito mas magandang manood sila ang legit. Eleazar Tanael, correct po. Anyway, this I cannot read. It's Japanese or Korean. Very interesting. Okay. Thank you very much so far for all of those who sent their messages. We're running from 9,000 to 10,000 viewers at any one time. So thank you very much for having joined us. On behalf of Ado Paglinawan, Sir Butch Valdes, this is Rita Gadi for Crossfire.